Fair use. Grief One Day at a Time 365 Meditations to Help You Heal After Loss by Alan B. Wolfett, PhD. September 9th. Sorrow and scarlet leaf, sad thoughts and sunny weather. Ah, me, this glory and this grief agree not well together. Thomas Parsons, A Song for September. Some days are too beautiful for grief. It's as if nature disrespects the darkness we are feeling inside. It can doubly anger us when we realize that the person who died would have loved the opportunity to experience this gorgeous day. So, what do we do when we have such a mismatch inside and out? I find that when this happens, if I coax myself outdoors and spend some time being present to nature's glory, I usually achieve a bit of movement in my grief. I might have a good cry as I walk through the woods. I might rake leaves, giving my body something repetitive to do as my heart and soul ask their question, why? Or I might have a silent conversation with the person who died, telling her how unfair it is that she can't enjoy this day with me. Dissonance and tension are often springboards to forward movement. The meditation reads, sad thoughts and sunny weather can work together to help me heal. September 10th. A feeling of pleasure or solace can be so hard to find when you are in the depths of your grief. Sometimes it's the little things that help get you through the day. You may think your comforts sound ridiculous to others, but there is nothing ridiculous about finding one little thing to help you feel good in the midst of pain and sorrow. Elizabeth Barron. It seems silly how little things can help us cope sometimes. For me, when I'm deeply grieving, something as simple as a breathing in and out are as ridiculous as a silly movie. What About Bob is a personal favorite. Can make me feel like I can go on another hour or two. In grief, the little things are the big things. We need our little moments of pleasure or solace. It's like we're climbing a treacherous mountain, and those trinkets are our handholds. We're not just happy to have them. Some days it feels like they're literally saving our lives. When we're struggling, we can make a list of the little things that give us pleasure or comfort. If we carry the list in our phones, purses, or wallets, we'll always have a reminder about where to find the next handhold. The meditation reads, three little things that give me pleasure are solace. That's how many I'm going to go out of my way to grab hold of today. September 11th. One and one are sometimes 11. Kashmira proverb. I often observed that when we're in grief, having just one other person who will spend time with us, listen to us when we want to talk, and generally keep us company can be enough. We don't necessarily need a whole team of helpers who can be present to our grief, although we should feel fortunate if we do. No, just one single fellow human being who is a good, non judgmental listener and is readily available when we need him can sometimes be the difference between hell and healing. Sometimes 1 + 1 equals a whole lot more than 2. The meditation reads, if I have one good helper, I will thank her today. If I don't yet have at least one good helper, I will reach out to someone new today. September 12th. Sanctuary on a personal level is where we perform the job of taking care of our soul. Christopher Forrest McDowell. When grief, loss, and the need to mourn enter our lives, we need a dedicated, safe space to call our own. We need a private territory where we can explore self development and spiritual practices, as well as read insightful books, meditate, journal, or simply contemplate the universe. Each of us can choose our own personal grief sanctuary. It may be your seat or pew in your place of worship. It could be a garden in a park or a hiking path, or a bench on the grounds of a retreat center. Sanctuaries are usually sanctified in some way to invite in and help us connect to the divine. We can create a sacred space in our home by smudging the room or adorning it with items or furniture that help our minds focus on our spiritual selves. We can say a special prayer or chant to designate that it is set apart from other rooms in our home as a sacred space. Our sanctuaries are where we go to grieve when our souls need time for inward focus. Our sanctuaries are calm, safe, and comforting. The meditation reads, I will designate a sanctuary for my grief. September 13th. A child can live with anything as long as he or she is told the truth and is allowed to share with loved ones the natural feelings people have when they are suffering. Etta LaShawn. If we have grieving children in our lives, we have the opportunity to help them. You see, many grown ups mistakenly believe that it is kinder to hide loss, grief, and mourning from children than it is to expose them to the pain of life. But the truth is, we can't hide loss, grief, and mourning from them. Any child old enough to love is old enough to mourn. When someone we love dies, we grieve. When someone a child loves dies, the child grieves. And even when we are grieving the loss of someone the child is not attached to, the child reads our grief in our every gesture. Children can handle the truth. What they can't handle are half truths, omissions, or outright lies. We can help them by sharing the truth at their developmental level of understanding and modeling open mourning. The meditation reads, I will help the grieving children in my life. If I am too overwhelmed by my own grief to help them, I will appoint another kind, responsible adult to help. September 14th. A moment comes when the true self reveals itself. That moment comes when you are willing to be unconditionally present in the imperfections of this moment. A simple change of attitude instead of chasing after perfection will allow a total and profound surrendering to the imperfection of the moment. Tayo Har. When you think about it, every moment is imperfect in grief because in every moment the people we love are not here. It is their very absence that ruins every moment. And even if these people would not have been physically here beside us in this moment anyway, our knowing that they are also not elsewhere on earth living their lives renders this moment imperfect. All we can do is learn to live in the imperfection of this moment, which may include many good things, the comfort of our chair, the light through the trees, the company of someone we care about. In surrendering to the imperfection of this moment, we relinquish the very idea of perfection. And once we let that go, we can appreciate all that is good now. The meditation reads, Today is imperfect. Tomorrow will be imperfect too. I can choose to cultivate gratitude for the good but not perfect. September 15th. People in mourning have to come to grips with death before they can live again. Mourning can go on for years and years. It doesn't end after a year. That's a false fantasy. It usually ends when people realize that they can live again and they can concentrate their energies on their lives as a whole and not on their hurt and guilt and pain. Elizabeth Kubler-Ross. We must come to grips with the death before we can truly live again. While I don't agree with Dr. Kubler-Ross that grief ever discreetly ends, it softens and erupts less frequently as over time we do the work of mourning. I do agree that through embracing the hurt and pain, we can emerge into a place of renewed wholeness. For now, we appropriately focus our energies on our grief. We do this because grief is our truth. Over time, the focusing of energy on and expressing of our grief transports us. Ever so slowly, we begin to transcend the pain. Then the passions and loves of our changed lives become our new truth. We concentrate our energies on our grief so that we can integrate it into our beings. One day we will again be able to concentrate our energies on our lives as a whole. The meditation reads, I trust that I will learn to live again. For now, I will concentrate my energies on my grief and mourning. Please share, subscribe, like, and remember that you are not alone.